Let's get crafty with Effie.
Candy-filled pots with flowers on top? Count me in. You can make these for any occasion or just to decorate around your house. Truth be told, I had no idea what I was doing, but I'm the type of crafter that would just go and jump into a project. It makes things more exciting when you have no idea how they're going to turn out. But lucky for you, I already went through the process, so now you get to see the product. My original plan was to take these white flower petals and dye them each person's favorite color. I grabbed disposable bowls as well as the food coloring that was on the shelf. I don't know how long it's been sitting up there. Look, don't judge me. I use what I have, okay? Also, I have rubber gloves to protect my hands because with dye, it is so hard to get it off of your fingers. The first color I was making was purple. I grabbed a couple of petals and put them into the dye mixture to try to get them to that color. And this is the exact moment when I questioned my life choices. The dye just wasn't sticking to the petals, so I did it 2 more times with the other bowls and decided to let them sit and hopefully it would change. While I pray for the dye to work, I'm going to let it sit and start on the next portion. These will be mini vases for the flower pots.
This is where my impulsive thoughts took over. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Before I glued, I wanted to make sure that the pots were nice and clean so there'd be no extra materials inside. To start, I wanted to make a circle of glue on the inside about the same diameter as my smaller vase. I spread it out so that it would be nice and even using a popsicle stick and set it to the side to dry just a little bit because it's hot glue and I'm going to put a plastic container on the inside, so I didn't want it to melt. I give it a little tug and I see it's pretty secure, but I'm going to let it sit for a minute so that it can get nice and hard and won't move later. I repeat this process to make 4 flower pots.
Remember the flower petals from earlier? Yeah, that didn't work out at all like I planned.
So to salvage the petals, I'm going to take the bowls with the dye along with some paint and dip them into each other to repaint the petals. I can't believe how great these colors came out on the petals. I'm going to set them aside to dry and finish out the rest of the project. Now that the glue has dried, I'm going to place candy all around the bottle. You don't have to use candy if you don't want to. Be as creative as you like. Because I will be placing the petals on top of the candy, I wanted to put the longer pieces horizontally to keep it level. Now I am placing the petals around the top to give you this great flower effect.
Isn't that so sweet?
The pun was fully intended. Now I continue this process for the next pots.
Remember what I said about not having to use candy to fill up your pots? You can use an alternative. One of the ladies does not like sweets, so I still wanted her to feel special. We have an inside joke, so I filled up hers with batteries and receipts. What alternatives would you use? Let me know down below. I still use my flower petals on top to cover and to give this flower petal effect. Now that we're finished with the artificial petals, it's on to the real flowers. I bought a bouquet that had everyone's favorite color or type of flower in it, so that it would save money and also made more sense, especially since I'm only going to be using one flower. Fun fact, do you know what you and flowers have in common? You're beautiful and you need water. Since I'll be gifting these to the recipients tomorrow, I'm not going to put the flowers into the pots tonight. I'm going to let them continue to sit in water and cut them down to size tomorrow. So here we are the next day. I am so tired, but I don't have much left to do. I'm picking out each flower and sizing it to the pot so that it won't be too large when I put it inside of the vase.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
I put plant food at the bottom of the vase, and I originally was going to put water in, but since I was going to be traveling not too far, I didn't want it to spill, so I changed my mind. I continued this process for each of the flower pots by resizing each flower to fit perfectly inside. With the flowers that I'm not using, I still want them to be healthy, so I snipped their ends and put them back in the vase. I cut this part out of the video. That was what I was originally going to use inside the vases, the containers, in order to keep the flowers upright, but they weren't needed. And here are the completed flower pots. I hope that you enjoyed this craft and would try this for yourself. Let me know down below. Thanks for getting crafty with Affy.